This is the JoyNews channel. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to today's edition of The Polls. Coming to you live from our studios here in Kukumlimle. It's on your digital terrestrial TV because we are free to air. We're on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. This afternoon, COVID-19 spreading at an alarming rate across Ghana, with authorities predicting many unvaccinated persons who catch the virus are at high risk of dying as deaths, new cases, and active cases surge. We'll tell you also this afternoon about the road accidents recorded during the festive season alone. 28 persons dying during that period. We found out what accounted for these incidents. Also this afternoon, importers declare they will pass on to consumers additional costs they will incur to import goods as the reversal of discount policy takes effect tomorrow. We have details as the Ghana Importers and Exporters Association urge government to hold on with the implementation of the policy until all stakeholders agree on the new measure by government. That and more in today's edition of The Polls, proudly brought to you by Global Communities Dignilu, affordable, safe sanitation. Remember, we are also streaming live on YouTube and all our social media handles at JoyNews on TV. You can tweet at us with the hashtag The Polls. Also on my personal handle at MFA Apau. You're welcome once again. Details shortly. Welcome once again and a happy new year. Let's start with the health authorities in Ghana predicting more deaths from COVID-19 infections as they say they're alarmed by the rates the virus is spreading in the country. Well, they are raising concerns also about the deaths from the virus has seen a sharp rise last month with as many as 78 persons succumbing. Head, severe and critical COVID-19 cases national management team and senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Medical School, Dr. Kwezowu, says those dying are persons who have not taken the vaccine. We'll hear from him shortly. But first, though, let's take a look at how COVID-19 has treated Ghana in recent weeks. So this is how it is looking like. Our active cases are soaring as we speak. And look at the deaths. We have a steady, line when it comes to the deaths. That's our yellow line. That's the deaths as we have it. Our active cases are the blue line. And over the period, this is how it's been from the beginning of 2021 all the way to where we are today. That's our active cases. For the past days, the Christmas festivities, we are recording up to about 1,000 cases, over 1,000 cases every day. And that's how it's looking like. We have the last case as at 28th, December 2021, and it's been super. The numbers are just going high. 1,000 cases, over 1,000 cases. That's where we are in terms of our cases. We've seen our deaths, a number of deaths, 78 of them from the 1st to the 30th of December. That's the number of cases. Fred Smith has an article on this on myjoyonline.com that you want to read for yourself to see where we are. We've seen our active cases. We've seen our new cases. The number of deaths that have also been recorded. These are the charts as we have it so far. But let's talk about another thing that is claiming a lot of lives. 28 people died in road accidents during the Christmas festivities. Some 148 individuals also suffered various injuries as 133 accidents occurred between 24th and 26th December 2021. Now, this is according to data compiled by the Ghana Police Service's Motor Traffic and Transport Department, Mttd. So these road crashes remain an issue of concern as many lives are lost yearly to the menace. The police Mttd has compiled accident data over the years to understand the situation in a bid to stem the tide. My colleague Maxwell Agwagba joins me on Zoom with details of this particular statement as put out, that data that we have on it. But first also, let me bring in Dr. Samuel Sasu Mensah, Director General of Mttd, on this particular situation and the number of cases that we've recorded. We're grateful for your time, sir, here on The Pulse. We'll also be joined by the Public Relations Officer of the National Road Safety Commission on this. Dr. Sasu-Mensah, it's been quite a busy festive season for you. Up to 28 people dying and 48 sustaining various road degrees of injuries during the festivities. Comparatively, how does it look like knowing that this is the figure you had last year or last 2 years, and then what we've seen in 2021? Let's talk about the figures. Hello, Dr. Sasu-Mensah. Okay, he will join us via Zoom, and we'll rectify that shortly. And then we can talk about the figures as we've recorded. And you've heard me talk about the fact that 28 persons have died over the festive season alone. It's just between 24th and 26th. We are yet to get the rest of the figures. And thankfully, his Zoom has been rectified. Dr. Sasu-Mensah, I'm sure you can hear me now. If you can unmute, let's take a look at the situation, the figures, as we have it. Quite worrying. In spite of the active road campaign that's launched prior to the season, what would you say may have accounted for the numbers that you've recorded? Well, we'll just take a quick break and rectify that. We'll also be joined by Pearl Edusujesi. She is in charge of public relations for the Road Safety Commission because of the issues in terms of the number of cases and the number of accidents that we recorded. We'll take a look at it. We'll definitely have to return to COVID and then road safety issues because of the number of lives involved in there. With COVID, over the period is 78, with road crashes 28. But then, whilst we wait, the Ghana Journalists Association is urging the police to do more to find the killers of private investigator Ahmed Swale. Speaking to JoyNews on the sidelines of a JJA UNESCO migration training program, President Roland Afil-Money said the killing is one of the reasons Ghana continues to drop on press freedom rankings. Ahmed Swale was shot dead 3 years ago near his family home in Accra, and up until now, nothing has happened.
Globally, we were ranked 30th, and even in our 30th position, we've outranked established democracies like UK, like US, like France, and many other countries. So even though, yes, we slipped from first in Africa to the third, and from 26th to 27th and now to 30th, the reports by Journalists Without Borders establishes that the media in Ghana is among the first 5 satisfactory media systems in Africa. So this should give us cause of hope that ours is not a basket case, even though we were witnessing instances of molestation against journalists, which tend to give us cause to worry. And in certain instances, like the assassination in the most brutal circumstances of Ahmed Swale, we are overly worried that 3 years along the line, nothing has been done to expose, let alone deal surgically with the perpetrators of this heinous crime. We were promised by His Excellency the President last year that the perpetrators were found earlier on. There have been other promises to the fact that the police were closing in on the criminals, but as we speak, nobody has been arrested. And this is one causal factor which tends to cause it to slip or decline on the league table of free media systems in Africa and the world. So we expect officialdom, we expect our law and order community to scale up the effort to expose the killers of Ahmed Swale and make them stand trial. And if they are found guilty, they should taste the bitter end of the law.
You're welcome back, and let's take a look once again at our previous stories, focusing on the road accidents that we've recorded. 28 persons dying and 48 getting injured over the festive period. 148 individuals also suffered various degrees of injuries. And thankfully, we've been joined on the phone by the lady in charge of public affairs for the National Road Safety Commission, PEL JC. And then also my colleague, Maswala Bogba, joins me via Zoom with the details in terms of the figures that we have. Before I bring in PEL, if you can hear me, welcome, PEL JC.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Pearl. Many thanks for your company.
Right.
Well, let me bring in my colleague Maxwell Agbagba also, so that we go through the details of the figures as we've put out. Maxwell, let's walk through the figures in terms of what we have on the accidents that we recorded over the festive period. Okay, Maxwell is unable to hear me, but Dr. Sasumensa, can you hear me, Dr. Sasumensa?
Yes, I can now hear you.
Great. Thank you so much for your patience as well. So
yes,
I was asking.
I am Superintendent Dr. Sasumensa.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's talk about the figures, the data that we have in terms of the accidents that have been recorded over the festive period, for instance. What, in your estimation, could have accounted for where we are today?
Yes,
I can hear you. Please go on.
Yes, the crux of the matter has to do with the fact that festive occasions like Christmas,
I can hear you, please.
Festive occasions like Christmas and New Year, it has been an annual ritual that accident rates occur. So basically what we are saying is that...
Okay, so we're having a terrible connection to you, Superintendent Doctor. If you can hear me, you would have to lower the volume of your set so you can listen to me directly. Otherwise, you'll keep on hearing yourself and we'll have that feedback. So whilst we rectify that, let me bring in my colleague, Maxwell Agbagba. Maxwell, let's go through the data as we have it.
So, for the period 19th December to 5th December, so we're looking at a period of 10 days. 81 lives from 73 crashes. Now, Accra was the first state with 150 reported crashes, and followed closely by the Ashanti region with 90 reported cases. Now, the Savannah region is the only region without a reported accident case. On the other hand, the Northeast region reported one case. Also, the Mttd also compiled data for 24th to 26th December. Now, 28 people, 28 were lost within this 2-hour window. So 148 others were. Again, Accra was the worst hit with 44 reported accident cases, followed closely by the Ashanti region with 22 reported cases. Then, so we're talking about this period as well. In addition, the Half region that previously recorded 2 cases in the period preceding Christmas did not register any case. Quite worrying, I must say, Emeka.
Well, so that's the figure. Even though we had difficulty hearing you, Maxwell Agbagba, many thanks for your company. Has been walking us through the figures, the regional breakdown as we have it, especially for the festive season in terms of accidents that we've recorded. Let me bring in Superintendent Dr. Sasumensa, Director Mttd, on phone this time. Hopefully we have a better connection. The machines want to go on holiday as well, but that's what is not going to happen. Superintendent Doctor, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can now hear you.
Super. Thank you so much for your patience once again. So we're doing some analysis in terms of what could have gone wrong in terms of the figures that we've recorded over this period. Is it the figure that you have? First off, is it surprising, and what could have accounted for it?
It's very, very, very surprising. The crux of the issue is that what we really recognize is that during Easter or Christmas and festive occasions like this, what we realize is that road traffic crashes always soar, always increase, but not to these levels and to this extent. The crux of the issue has to do with the fact that most of the drivers are not respecting traffic rules and traffic regulations. They are breaching traffic rules and traffic regulations with impunity that it deserves. That is why we always say that about 80 to 90% of the road traffic crashes that is being witnessed on the road in Ghana is attributable to the human factor. And the human factor has to do with what? Indiscipline by drivers of vehicles. That is the main crux of the problem. What we are increasingly seeing on the roads is that so many people who are driving on our roads are not abiding by traffic rules and regulations simply because of the fact that even what we call the Road Traffic Act, what we call the road traffic regulation, they have not even seen it before. I've not seen what is called the Road Traffic Act or what is called the road traffic regulation. It's like you are a preacher going to the church to preach, yet you have not even seen the Bible or you have not read its content. That is what is being replicated by drivers on the use of the road. It is against this background of the fact that the road traffic crashes are increasing at a very, very alarming rate. And that is very, very, very worrying.
Then what then do we say to those who say that it appears that when you breach the rules or the regulations of the Road Traffic Act, it appears nothing really happens. It appears it's not deterrent enough such that people would continue to break these rules, leading to the deaths and the injuries that we keep recording?
No, that is not that. The police, as a matter of fact, we are continuing with enforcing the rules and regulations. Most of them, we have gone on several operations. We have gone with the National Road Safety Authority on education and awareness creation, as well as enforcement. But what we ought to do now is to increase the pace and to make sure that we educate and inform and enforce at the same time. So we are going to strictly combine education with strict and rigorous, as well as rigorous enforcement of the road traffic rules and regulations. Just as we also expect that we are going to digitize our operations so that enforcement will be very, very easy. It will be very, very easy for us to operate. So it's about combining education and enforcement to make sure that at the end of the day, we will be able to downsize the road traffic problem. And as we also see, road safety is a shared and collective responsibility. The police, our role is to enforce the traffic rules and regulations. Just as you are media men and women, you are supposed to also to contribute to the educational efforts, just as the National Road Safety Authority. So it is a combined effort that we should all combine forces to ensure that these things that are causing the road traffic accidents, we are able to address them within the shortest possible.
For us here at JoyNews and all our platforms, I'm sure you're very well aware of our Drive Safe campaign as a way of educating the public on this as well. But we know the figures in terms of the deaths and the number of people who sustain injuries. That's 28 deaths and 148 various degrees of injuries.
Within the period, that's 24th and 25th.
Exactly.
24th to 26th. We have also collated data from 19th to 25th.
And how does it look like?
That one is also very worrying.
You have the figures with you to provide, to share with us?
Yes, the figure for the 19th to 25th December indicate the persons who were injured were 378. And during that period of time, 81 persons or 81 people also died from 19th to 25th. 81 persons died throughout the country, and it is increasingly very worrisome.
And prior to December, we had already almost 1,000 cases when it comes to our road crashes.
So it's basically attributable to indiscipline by those who are driving our vehicles on our various routes and highways. That is the key factor. They don't respect traffic rules and regulations, and even the traffic rules and regulations, they have not seen the content of what is in the Road Traffic Act and what is the road traffic regulation.
Okay.
So they are not able to abide by them. That seems to be problematic. And during this year, we should be seen seemingly trying or get great efforts towards addressing this issue. Drivers should be educated and sensitized to abide by traffic rules and traffic regulations.
Okay.
That seems to be the key issue why the road traffic crashes are increasing at a very alarming rate.
Well, Superintendent, thankfully you provided us these figures from the 19th all the way to the 26th. It appears is skyrocketing. But I want to find out if we have figures in terms of arrests also of the corporates of these, those who caused these accidents, amongst others.
The arrest, they are there. And we shall release it to you very soon. But it's just unfortunate that I couldn't bring the data along with me. But they are there. We have also been trying to arrest, and we are arresting.
Okay.
Most of the various arrests.
Great. At least it's assuring that some arrests also have been made.
The year. By the close of the year, we will come out with the number of people we have arrested and the various fines and penalties that they have paid.
At the last count, I know you don't have the data or accurate data with you now, but at the last count, how did it look like?
By November, it was around the fines that we have gotten was above 10,000 Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Yes, it was above. Yes, it was getting to 20,000 Ghana cedis.
And the persons involved, the numbers.
Yes, they are only they only pay the fine. They pay it from region to region. And very soon, tomorrow, I will just make it available to you.
I'm grateful, Superintendent. I'm indeed grateful for your time. That's Superintendent Dr. Samuel Sasumensa, is Director Mttd. So you can see the regional breakdown on your screen as I bring in Pearl Edusujesi. She's in charge of public affairs for the National Road Safety Commission. I'm sure they're also worried about this particular situation. Pearl, really, what are your thoughts in terms of the figures that we've put out from the 19th to the 26th of December? We're told recently, at least between 24th and 26th, we had 28 deaths and 148 injuries. We are learning now that 300 injuries were recorded from the 19th to the 24th or so. Adding to these figures, it appears that it's not good at all for December. The Mttd describes it as surprising. What would the National Road Safety Commission say about the figures that we recorded in December alone? Hello, Madam Pearl Edusujesi. It doesn't look like we have Pearl on the phone. Pearl, if you can hear me via Zoom, please, if you can unmute. Whilst we wait for Pearl to do that, these are the figures that we have in terms of the crashes. You see how it's looking like, and then the injuries and the deaths. Pearl, you can hear me now. Thanks so much for your company once again.
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Great.
Yeah.
So I was asking your thoughts.
Yeah. I'm saying that this continuous increase in the statistics from our end is alarming and very worrying. Very, very worrying and unacceptable. Can you hear me now?
Perfect, I can.
Hello?
Yes, I can.
Yeah,
please continue.
And unacceptable. And I, as Dr. Sasu rightly said, all hands must be on board. Collaboration and continuous education and rigorous enforcement should come in so that we put in more effort in finding a permanent solution to this menace. This is really a menace when we put the statistics together.
Well, in spite of this alarming situation as you describe it, you know that prior to it, there was intense education. And we're told that comparing these figures 2021 to 2022, it appears 2021 was worse. What then could have gone wrong? Because you campaigned, you spoke about it, you educated. From your understanding of the situation, what could have gone wrong?
Thank you. Before I continue, the National Road Safety is no more a commission, it is an authority. And so you correct that.
You're seeing it on the screens, it will be corrected.
As Dr. Sasu is saying, the crack of the matter is indiscipline. Basically, indiscipline on the part of road users. There is a saying that road safety is a shared and collective responsibility. And if we have to bring these statistics down, as we educate, we sensitize, we create the awareness, the other party, which is the road user, must do its part. Just take it that the roads are bad. Take it that there is no enforcement. You need to take your own safety into your hands and not to flout the traffic rules and regulation. One sad aspect of this is that Dr. Sasu said some of the road users or drivers have not even seen the road traffic rules and regulations before, and the contents are not known to them. If the contents are not known, how do you apply them to improve road safety? That is why we do outrages as part of our educational mandate. But the sad news is that sometimes the drivers who are directly involved in these crashes, when you take the good message news to them, they don't even listen. Only a few comes around. They are eager to work, go on the street, and look for money. But at the end of the day, they don't even know what the rules and regulations are. Even if the few that know, they flout it. And so these are the major or the crack of the issue. This is the crack of the issue. And also, irresponsibility, partly on the part of duty bearers. If we are all up and doing, I think this problem will be solved halfway by now. But I don't know. We need enforcement, tightened, rigorous enforcement, coupled with the education. That is what will do the trick. But when we relax in our bid to enforce these rules because they don't know, and then when they are apprehended or prosecuted, the sanctions meted out to them is not very, very harsh to deter themselves and others. These things will continue to happen on our roads, despite the rigorous and continuous education and the pumping in of money for campaigns that we do from our end.
Okay, well, so at least partly the issue, as Superintendent Dr. Sasu Mensah and yourself have espoused, has to do with these corporates or drivers, road users, not appreciating the road traffic regulations. Is there a way? We know that the NCC, for instance, prints out the Constitution, shares them wherever they go. Apart from just educating, is there a way, do we have a plan to ensure that some portions of the Road Traffic Regulations Act is made available everywhere you go so that these drivers can have an understanding and appreciation, and not just in English language, but also in the various local languages so they can understand what it is that they have to do?
Thank you very much. This is what we do, but we'll now increase the space. We'll now make it more ready, available. We'll have to tighten our belt. Our offices are all over the country, and every region, when they go out for outreach, they speak the languages that the indigenes, the natives understand. We don't, even in Accra, when we go to a Gan settlement, we speak Gan. When we go to an Akan settlement, we do. And even with the information center we have established now and will be opening soon, all the various major Ghanaian languages are there. And so even if you call Hausa, you'll get somebody who attends to you. You call Dakmani, you'll get somebody who will attend to you, as well as all the other major Ghanaian languages. So we try as much as possible to break down the level of communication into our own local languages, so that those who don't understand the English language and cannot communicate effectively with it will understand and appreciate what it is for them in their contribution in promoting road safety. And so this is what we do. But I think this year we'll do more than we've been doing, because when we don't put ourselves in there and educate them more, even with DVLA, we are planning of this continuous compulsory driver education. We are breaking everything down into the local languages so that they will understand and appreciate. We started the pilot in 2019, but because of the coming of COVID, we stopped. We are continuing. This 2022 will continue. That continuous driving education, the parts of the regulations will be brought to them and they will be taught. That is what we started by having some enforcement action plan with DVLA and then the Mttd. The section 65 who brought the unprescribed life that they are violating. We explain it to them that the section 65 of the road traffic regulation stipulates that there is a number of lights you should put on your vehicle and a specific place and color that you should put. When you violate it, as these and these are the sanctions that apply. And we did that and did an enforcement action, removing them, educating them to appreciate what the section of that traffic regulation is saying. And we did another one recently by giving us some directives already in the traffic regulation that they didn't know and were not operationalized or was not already operationalized. We went to them, we explained to them how they should apply it and what sanctions will follow if they don't. And our road safety inspectors that we recently employed and built capacity for have been going out randomly, checking whether they are putting this into operation. So we will increase the awareness more by taking portions, as you rightly said, from the road traffic regulation and then teach them, educate them, so they will best appreciate and apply it on the road. Okay. If only they will, because we've been constantly going on outrages and preaching these words to them. As Dr. Sasu said, this road traffic regulation, it's like the Bible. It's like the menu on the road. When you violate it, the consequences is crash, death, and its resultant injuries.
Well, taking a look at the breakdown, as we have it, the regional breakdown, it appears there are certain regions that are doing relatively well than other regions. I'm sure there are some key learnings from these areas that I'm sure it's worth noting as an authority.
Yeah, as it was spelled out, Greater Accra, Ashanti region, the Eastern region, followed by Central, Western. You know, there are a lot of vehicles there. Mobility is much there. Population is there much. And a lot of business activities goes on there. And a lot of the highways passes through these towns and cities. That is why most of the time we see the number of those regions increasing. And so that is it. Most of the other regions, a few vehicles apply there. They are not much. The wrongful overtaking. You know, we mostly in our communities have single lanes. So most of the accidents comes as a result of wrongful overtaking, head-on collision, and then when the traffic congestion, people in a hurry to go and they bump into each other. So the places or the cities where we have heavy vehicular and population increment, you see that the cases of crashes increase as well in those regions.
Okay. We are grateful. That's Pearl Ebusujesi. She's the PRO, National Road Safety Authority, and we've been getting some worrying figures on the number of road crashes that we've recorded in the festive period alone. Between 19th and 24th, we have over 300 injuries, and then between 24th and 26th or so, we had about 148 injuries and then 28 deaths. We'll do the maths and we'll give you the total figures after this break. Welcome back. This is The Pulse here on the JoyNews channel. We're also on DSTV channel 421. Let's go to some other stories now. And the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, has declared it will pass on to the consumer the additional cost that is expected to come for importers with the reversal of reduction in benchmark values, which takes effect tomorrow. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta announced the reversal in the 2022 budget in November 2021. This particular move was initiated in 2019. And the policy was expected to, among others, reduce the cost of importing certain class of goods. But with the policy set to be reversed, vehicles, sugar, spaghetti, palm oil are among some 32 commodities to be affected, whose import costs will definitely increase. We can hear from the first vice chairman of GUTA, Clement Boateng, who says importers have no choice but to pass on the extra cost to consumers. And meanwhile, the executive director of the Ghana Importers and Exporters Association, Samson and Saki Awingobit, has berated government for reversing the policy. He also claimed that the reversal was not properly thought through, as he urges government to halt its implementation and engage stakeholders further. My colleague, Kwekwa Sanche, has been interacting with Clement Boateng and Samson Awingobit on this.
So government's review of the benchmark policy that was introduced some years back to cushion importers has been removed and is taking effect tomorrow. We have here GUTA and the Executive Secretary for the Importers and Exporters Association on this new development and how it is going to affect them and their business. Let me start with GUTA. You had significant concerns about this. You actually cautioned government against going ahead with a reversal. Government has taken a decision. How is this going to affect the cost of products?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I think the timing of the reversal of this benchmark value is not right, and we think it is going to have a very negative impact on businesses. We all know that this reversal, has come about as a result of lobbying of AGI. But we think AGI don't have the capacity, to produce the things that the benchmark value, has been taken off. And so we think GUTA has unfinished, business with government. We will still, continue to, engage government and see what best, could be done. But as you have said, it is going to take effect from tomorrow. So if it takes effect from tomorrow, then consumers, should brace themselves up for, price increase because, no businessman, importer or exporter is Father Christmas, and for every cost that is going to be incurred by an importer or businessman will definitely be passed on to the consumer. So if it takes effect from tomorrow, consumers should brace themselves up for price increment. But we think, like I told you, we still have an unfinished business with government. We will still continue to engage government and see, how possible best, this benchmark, reversal, could be, changed.
Let me come to Mr. Samson Awingobit. Mr. Samson Awingobit, what are your impressions about the reversal? Are you for it or you are against it?
Well, I cannot say I am for it or I'm against it, but the truth of the matter is that we think that it's not the right time. Look at the economic situations of ordinary Ghanaians, their financial status, vis-a-vis if they say government is the largest employer or the private sector, how many private within the 2019-2021, how many Ghanaians have gotten jobs and getting good pay? I strongly believe that it's not the right time. Look at the cost of living in the country now. And as my colleague just said, what are the capacity that we have on those commodities that the benchmark value should be reversed come tomorrow. What is going to happen is that our friends from the AGI don't have the capacity, to the best of my knowledge. They are not, even if they have their factory sitting there, they don't have they are not producing up to optimum, and they know that it's not about the benchmark values that is making them not producing up to optimum. It's as a result of the cost of borrowing in this country. It's as a result of the cost of utility tariff in this country. And so they knowing very well. And as I said, very soon, AGI will be exposed. They will be exposed by the African Continental Free Trade. That is coming on board very soon, where we have people in South Africa, Kenya, and the rest are borrowing at a lower rate, are using lower utility tariff, can produce up to optimum, and they are going to bring their product into this country as well and sell, and we will take it there. That is where they will see a real competition. For me, I strongly believe that rice production in this country is not yet up to 500,000 metric tons, let alone the 700,000 to 800,000 metric tons that Ghanaian rice importers are bringing. Besides that, rice importers, ECOWAS sub-region, they are paying 10% import duty. Ghana, they are paying 20% import duty. That is already a deterrent to the importers, or a cost that they are borne out of the importers. Frozen food importers, biscuit, cooking oil, and others. Globally, under the ECOWAS common external tariff, are paying 20%. Even Africa, they are paying 20% import duty. In Ghana, we have implemented the highest value, 35%, plus fees and charges. As we speak with you, if assuming tomorrow they reverse the benchmark value as stated, there's a bill before Parliament, and I'm sure it has been passed by now, although that the education has not been done, that fees and charges will be increased across board by 15%. That is also going to be a cost, knowing that if you bring goods through the port and you are not just paying only duty, you pay duty plus fees and charges by this institution. And so that is going to be a huge, huge cost, and we will definitely see it. If you ask me, I will tell you, I mean, our importers should get in the second quarter, already this first quarter, product at the port. We will try and clear those goods. By first, second quarter, they should not import, and let's see where the country will go. We are going to have a very, very severe shortage of food, and there will be food insecurity. What our people are bringing, they are bringing it because there is a lack. There's a shortfall, there's gap, and they are coming to show up. That's why we have not run out of food hunger or food shortages in this country. I strongly believe that the government will have to reason again. If you ask me, I'll tell you the Minister of Finance should reverse these benchmark values. I mean, should stop this implementation by tomorrow, and let's look at it in a medium to long term. These are short-term measures that they are going to cause injuries on the economy of this country. As we speak now, what is the dollar rate in this country? It's also going to be another way of pricing of goods. If one goes to the port and they reverse to clear your car, and they reverse the 30% benchmark values, and they reverse, if you are clearing cooking, whether cement, clinker, cooking oil, rice, whatever, and they reverse the 50% benchmark values, and you meet another high dollar rate, that tells us that from tomorrow going, we all collectively, if you go to the market, expect a new price at the market.
Sure. Let me come to Mr. Barton again. Mr. Wingobit here has made a point about, I mean, a protest of a sort, holding on to some of these importation in the next quarter, so that Ghanaians and the government can feel the pinch of this reversal. Is that something you subscribe to, or is this something you will take into consideration?
Well, that is, protest also is a democratic, right of, registering, your protest or displeasure if you think something is not good, for you. So when we get to the bridge, yes, we will cross. But like he said, all the things that he said, I think they are right, because if you look at our total metric tons of rice that the country is supposed to have, which is about 800,000, and we are just those who are producing it are in the range of 300 to 400,000, then that shortfall, where do we get it from? We still have to, import it. And if we have to import it, and then you have, reverse, this, benchmark reduction, then definitely prices, is going to be up. So we think, government must take a second look. Government, should not be, pushed, to the wall, or should not be lobbied by, those who are seeking their own self-interest. But governments must look at the totality of the Ghanaians and the purchasing power of the Ghanaians. That is the bottom line. It is not about somebody's, interest. If the person has got the capacity to produce, what is the point in sitting in a plane, traveling so many kilometers away, renting a hotel, and then incur those costs there if I can get the product in Ghana here? But this is the situation is that they don't have the capacity, to produce now. So it should be a gradual process, but not, a short-term, policy that within the shortest possible time, government says we are reversing the benchmark value. I don't think it's right, and governments must take a second look at it.
Right. Finally, government says that one of the reasons it introduced the policy was to cushion you because of some of the economic hardships, economic challenges. They say the target of the policy has been achieved. That is why they want to reverse it now. Is this something you subscribe to?
It is not true. It is not true. What has been achieved? You see, some of the government communicators, go around propagating that, the reasons, that government embark on this benchmark reduction, has not been achieved. I can tell you, it has been achieved 100% and over. Had it not been this benchmark reduction, prices would have been much higher. Even with the present. The present benchmark reduction that we are enjoying. You could bear with me that during this Christmas, people were crying that prices are high. Prices are high because of one. World commodity prices, have gone up. Exchange rates have gone up. Freight charges have gone up. And so all the goods which came for this Christmas festivities, have to attract some sort of increment. So therefore, if this benchmark is going to be reversed, then there's going to be further increase. And so therefore, it is the consumer who is going to, suffer. So I think governments must take a second look at it. Otherwise, there's going to be chaos in this country.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boateng. Mr. Boateng is the first Vice President of Ghana Union of Traders Association. Let me end with Mr. Awengobet. What do you think should be the game plan going forward so that both AGI, GUTA, and all other interested stakeholders can come to a certain common ground on this issue?
I think AGI has, all of us have to sit on round table, including the government. Let AGI be able to convince us, tell government that truly and truly within their heart, what are the expertise they have? At what commodity do they have the capacity? Not that just having the capacity, but they have it in volumes, in terms of metric tons. And then at what price is it going out there? So that they think that these are our top three, topmost that we have. We are not just that we are. If you say you have a capacity, it's different from we are produced. It's there. It's available. So that these business people would go there and buy it. Do you understand? So I think that we need a national dialogue. Government should not do a rush to implement this and to cause injuries, as I said, on the ordinary Ghanaian, knowing very well that even salary increment you could not increase just 4% per 2 years. This is the first time I'm hearing this. And so already Ghanaians, during the Christmas and the New Year, people were complaining about how the cost of goods and prices are. As we speak, if benchmark value is being reversed, you will see more chaotic in this country. For me, I think that we are ready. Our doors are open. We are prepared to sit with AGI. We are prepared to sit with the government, and let's look at it. There's no rush to implement this policy come tomorrow. I mean, as we speak, people have cargo sitting at the port. Even with the benchmark values, they are struggling to get money, to raise money to be able to pay duty. You've heard people say that they are auctioning their container. They are not happy for their containers to be auctioned at the port simply because they have to look for money. Look at the dollar rate. The government told us some time ago, I think in 2021, that they were going to hold the dollar for like 3 months. They couldn't. As we speak, dollar is standing around 6 point something to the city. So I can tell you, these are not normal times. And why? First month of the year, first quarter of the year. Please, after Christmas, how Ghanaians struggled to sail through the first quarter. This shouldn't be this is not the right time. These are not normal times.
So I've been speaking to Mr. Awengobet and then Mr. Boateng from GUTA and also from the Importers and Exporters Association. The point has been made that prices of goods will go up effective tomorrow when this benchmark policy reversal takes place, and they want government to continue the dialogue with both stakeholders, the AGI, GUTA and other interested stakeholders, to ensure that we are able to cushion those who are exporting and also those who are creating the goods in this country. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But for now, that is the message, that is the point that has come out, and we are expecting government to come out with some sort of response to try and be able to get both sides to be on the same page.
Now we can hear from the Chief Executive Officer of the Association of Ghana Industries, Seth Chumakobwa. He disagrees vehemently and wants the police to go ahead, or the policy to go ahead tomorrow as planned.
Yeah, our position has been very clear on the right from the onset. On the very day it was introduced, we spoke about it. And our position was that it was not the best of policy, because if you want to promote industrialization, you don't reduce import costs to make imports cheaper than local production. Once you do that, you're actually rendering local producers in effect in the market. So that has been our position. But government, I think it's also important to emphasize that government hasn't said, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes.
If you could just finish up on that.
Yes, the government hasn't said they are withdrawing the benchmark values in its entirety. They have selected a few of the products. The number of products that we import into this country, it runs into hundreds to thousands of products. It's only about 41 or so products that government says for these products, we have reasonable local capacity, or we can build local capacity to produce. And therefore, for those products, let's protect local industry. We are all excited about the fact that VW has established a plant here. We are excited about the fact that Toyota is coming, Nissan is coming. We are talking about all this. At the same time, you want to bring in vehicles at a cheaper price, at a cheaper import value. What do you do to those ones that you are assembling here? The people they are employing. You don't need to have the entire capacity before you come up with a policy of this nature. Besides, let's face it, it is not a question of government suddenly increasing the import values. It is rather government who reduced it about 2 years ago. And they say, now let's go back to the normal or the previous levels, which is the pertaining import values. I'm fully against it. Government should not suspend implementation. Rather, government consultations to continue. Let's implement, let's see what happens along the line. Specific products that we have challenges in terms of output. Let's see how we can quickly build those capacities and ensure that local capacity is increased.
Well, you heard me mention some of the items that will be affected, including the spaghettis, the palm oil, vehicles, among others. Other items also include crude and refined oils, finished aluminium products, as well as toilet and facial tissue and towels, biscuits, pharmaceutical products, others including your favorite chocolate products, clinker cement, mosquito coils, ceramic tiles, agricultural inputs such as machetes, fruit juices, tomato paste, selected soap and detergent products. We also have lubricants, alcoholic and carbonated drinks and beverages. All these will be affected. I'm dying to hear from you on your thoughts on this as the policy reversal kicks in tomorrow. Now, the family of a missing Lands Commission staffer is hopeful a kidnapped relative will be found alive. It's been 4 months since Rodeling Amwadako, who turns 33 today, has gone missing, though police have provisionally charged her husband, Dr. Wilberforce Nkrumah Agui, a lecturer at the Petroleum Department of the KNUST, with kidnapping. The family says the disappearance of the mother of two has left them in pain. Ohiming Terrier of our security desk has been visiting the Accra home of missing Rodeling and has come through with this report.
Rodeling Amwadako, a staffer at the Kumasi office of the Lands Commission, would have turned 33 today. But the mother of two, described by the family as loving, caring and lively, is not available to observe a day which usually comes with pomp and pageantry. Her disappearance means no Christmas celebration for her extended family. For the family, it is hard to contend with the harsh reality of her disappearance.
It has been extremely difficult. Very, very, very difficult. Because this is the first time the children are not seeing their mother for Christmas. This is the very first time. And if they keep asking where the mother is, what do you see? None of the family celebrated Christmas this time. We are all looking forward to seeing our daughter. So to us, this Christmas didn't exist.
Members of the extended family, including the mother, sister, aunties, and uncles, have been meeting on New Year's Day to pray and discuss the way forward for the disappearing Rhodalyn. The family is optimistic their relative will be found alive. As optimistic as they are, the family is not sure when Rhodalyn would return to the family. Charlotte Aqua, her aunt, is the family spokesperson.
We all have the faith that he is still alive, being kept somewhere by these wicked people. And we pray and we are trusting the Lord that he will bring her alive to us.
And how soon will this happen?
Who knows? We are waiting on the Lord. 1,000 years is like a day before the Lord. So all that we are saying is that he is the Lord. He is a faithful one. He knows everything. He knows where Rhoda is. We are pleading that the time of waiting should be shortened for us.
The family has, since the disappearance, received psychological therapy support from the police. But the family is challenged in dealing with Rhoda's two clever but emotionally traumatized children who keep asking questions on when their mother is returning.
Definitely, they will ask. They are not seeing the mother, they are not seeing the father. Isn't it heartbreaking for these little ones to go through such a thing? And the man should have thought about the case before kidnapping the wife. So it is very difficult for all of us. At times you will have to go and hide somewhere and try and you weep or try and find out or think about what you are going to tell the children. It is not easy at all. It's not easy. And I don't think it will be easy till we find our daughter.
Meanwhile, Dr. Wilberforce Agri is expected to appear before the Asokwa District Court on January 14, 2022. Reporting from Accra for JoyNews, Ohime Interior.
Rather disturbing situation there. Well, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has urged factions in the Boko conflict to use legitimate and judicious means to resolve the conflict than resorting to arms or violence. He notes that Ghana is a country of rule of law that must be respected and no individual or groups will be allowed to make the country unsafe or ungovernable. Ambrose Derry spoke to JoyNews Upper West correspondent Rafiq Salam in an exclusive interview on the margins during the New Year party held for his constituents at Kokoligo.
Derry spoke on a wide range of issues, starting with the development of the Upper West region and ended with the state of the country's security.
Have we reached the ultimate? No, we haven't done so. That's why I started by saying that we are relatively peaceful, relatively safe, but still moving forward and still being the oasis of peace in this country.
He then zeroed in on the recent conflict in Boko in the Upper East region, which has resulted in curfew being imposed in the area.
It has been settled for decades that the President Bokonaba, the Kusasi Bokonaba, is the Bokonaba without dispute, confirmed by a Supreme Court decision, has been the case in the past, and this government has no intentions of disturbing the situation. On the contrary, we are determined to protect the status quo. I'm disturbed when I see anything that's ethnic based. The ethnic groups have existed peacefully over the years, and we do not want any division in the north, or indeed any part of the country, along ethnic lines. Mampuchis and Kusasis have coexisted in the Boko area and in other parts of the country, and nothing should be done to disturb that cordial relationship.
Ambrose Derry stated that government has no interest in who becomes the chief of an area, but has unwavering interest in maintaining peace of those areas.
I want to advise all those who want to call themselves youth associations of various organizations to know that this is a state where the rule of law must be respected. We are all equal before the law, and no one is above the law. and nobody will be allowed to take the law into his or her own hands and make this country ungovernable.
He urged all warring factions to use legitimate means to resolve the conflict, then resort into violence.
And I want to say that applies to the rest of the country. If you have a chieftaincy matter, go to the traditional institutions, traditional council, judicial committee of the regional houses of chiefs, national house of chiefs, and from them to the Supreme Court. Let no one think that you can take the law into your hands.
The Interior Minister also used the opportunity to rebut allegations leveled against him on the ceding of lands belonging to Lamuse to Nanda municipality at a press conference held at Lamuse by a group calling themselves Consent Sisala Movement.
All the elevation did was to change the status from district to municipality, maintaining the existing boundaries that have been in the past. There is no iota of truth whatsoever that I'm party or privy or part of any move to take any land. The most ludicrous one is I'm alleged to have been trying to create another district in which there's a northern Nandom district with my village as the capital. I ask all those who have heard the allegation to ignore it with the contempt that it deserves. There is no such scheme or plan on my part to create a district. Not at all. Not at all.
Reporting for JoyNews, Rafik Salam, Kokoligu.
Well, that's the dancing Interior Minister there ending Rafik Salam's report. Now, government has been advised not to create false hope among residents in areas where iron ore has been discovered in commercial quantities. The former Executive Secretary of the Minerals Commission, Dr. Tony Obeng, in an interview with JoyNews, cited a number of locations where iron ore discoveries have been made in the past, including the Sheni iron ore deposit, which never saw the light of day after decades of the discovery. He's urging political actors to manage the expectation of locals in these areas because a lot more work is required to establish the commercial quantity or the commerciality of the mineral.
The student of the extractive industries, it is always exciting when new minerals or minerals are discovered in a place, just at least for the fact that you know that in your backyard there is a particular mineral or minerals located there. And also for the prospect of it, catalyzing development in the area. Minerals really become catalysts for development in the area. They generate income when they are brought to account. They create employment. They a lot of things. And so once a mineral is discovered, it is exciting. However, one has to be extremely careful not to overly create expectations. And there's a tendency for that to happen, particularly with politicians. If you recall that this is not the first time that iron ore has been discovered in Ghana. In fact, the occurrence was known many years ago that there were occurrences of iron ore in that area, but its commerciality was not well known. Now you know that Sheni was discovered in I think 1900. It discovered the Sheni iron ore deposit. Up to now, Sheni iron ore deposit has not been developed. The opponents say iron ore deposit created a lot of euphoria. I'm sure you were too young to know a man called R.P. Bafo, who even stood for as a presidential candidate and all that. And at that time, there was a prospect that because Insuta manganese was there, that was only in 1963. Now, Insuta manganese was there, and then they had discovered the iron ore. So establishing an iron and steel industry was going to be a very sweet thing for the country. up to now, do you know anything about the permanent iron ore industry? So I think it is always very dangerous to overly prep the excitement of communities, and I see that my good brother and friend, the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, at the Durban to announce that and all that, which is fine. No, if you look at what has been found and what is announced, we have about 55% or 50-something% in terms of iron ore content in the ore. So there is a significant amount of what they call penalties or things that are not relevant to iron ore. So for you to convert it into commerciality, it takes time. And a company must be able to see what is there and say that by this method that we want to get this out, it is commercially viable. So this must take, and would take a long time. So once you go to the community to create that, because the communities are poor. So once they know there's a mineral around its backyard, their adrenaline is shot. You remember when oil was found? We all said, oh, that would be a shot in the arm of the country or the country's economy. People spoke about how Ghana's economy was going to boom, how Takoradi was going to change. In fact, I was involved when I was working with Talo we created what they call spatial development plans, long-term development plans for the CIS district, in the hope that the oil was going to solve all our problems. Now, where are those things? And now, if you go to Takoradi now, they are very unhappy, even though they are excited to call, I'm part of that. So we are excited to call ourselves Oil City. We dread the fact that we are not getting any benefit because the location of the oil and the way people move, there's an extraversion. You get the oil there and then you move by air to Takoradi or by air to Accra. Nothing happens in Takoradi. Now, what is really exciting the economy of Takoradi is probably, and as you probably have seen it, would be maybe the tourism. The tourism is probably what's going to kick Takoradi and Sekondi up. So we need to be very careful, and I am helping my friend minister to cool down the expectation of communities who think that because the minister has come there, in the next 2-3 years we're going to have a mine. This is a very difficult call. So my concern is that we do not overly excite the expectations of communities just by the discovery of iron ore, because you see, for those who mine iron ore, and the world needs iron ore, there's no doubt about it. Iron ore still is needed, but for those who mine, they normally look at 60% plus of iron ore content. Ours is less than that. There's a lot of, by what I've read, silica, you have other non-useful in terms of what the iron ore person might like, materials in that. So
we've not got into the 60%?
Not yet. And then also, nobody has done its critical analysis of its commerciality, or of its viability, whether it is feasible for me to mine and make money. If we were to develop an iron and steel industry, which is normally a combination of manganese and iron ore, and we're doing it in situ, we might say that that's fine. But if you're going to ship the iron ore, you will consider whether you want to ship an ore which contains 53-4% of iron ore, and then almost 50% of other non-relevant minerals. So you have to look at that. So it's good news that the people of OT know that they are sitting on on mineral, which is useful, but they would also be recalling the fact that they are hungry. So if they are hungry, how would they're also going to say, but we are sitting on iron ore, but we are hungry, So I think we need to manage the expectations in terms of these minerals, because once they have, then they start dealing with the authorities in a way that make them feel that, look, you have to do this. When the authorities know that they haven't gone too far, Because a company must come and have a look at it and say we are going to mine it by this method, and by using this method of mining we are going to commercialize it. I don't know whether there's a company which is going to do that now. I don't know, but I would be careful for my experience, for the fact that even in this country we discovered bauxite long ago bauxite, I think 1898 or something, if my date is correct. And we had bauxite in Jinahene, in Awaso, in the eastern region, the Achim area and all that. Yet we have mined only one deposit, which is the Awaso one. We have not developed the rest, because what goes into developing them is not simple. So if you went to a place and said, oh, you've discovered iron ore, and therefore your problems are going to die in the next few days, please, you are unnecessarily exciting the you are unnecessarily exciting the expectations of people. I mean, I'd rather go beyond just discovery. I will announce it, but I will let them know that this takes time. It takes time for it to come to account.
From what you know, how long is it going to take for us to be able to start getting...
In an average mine, the discovery to production would be about 10 years. That is the average mine. In fact, the gold mines, discovery to production, if it is consistent, if it is confirmed that, because once you discover, you have to mine, you have to do a lot of drilling work to establish the quantity, how much of it is there for which it can be seen as a commercial quantity. So that is that. But you also have to have a company or an entity which is interested in mining. You know, for when I say discovery and mining, somebody would have discovered it, somebody would go through all the permitting processes, and then getting the mine, developing, building, infrastructure and all that. So it takes that time. And once it is brought into account, naturally the communities will benefit. In Ghana, in spite of the challenges we have with the mining companies, I think quite a number of them have done well, that they haven't spoken about it very well. I mean, for me, if you come to see Takwa to Daman, the kind of asphalt that has been done, this was done even though government at that time was involved in pushing them to do it. It was done exclusively by a mining company, Gophers. They did it. If you go to Ashanti, Obuasi, after Konfuanechi, I think the most resourced hospital in the Ashanti region is the mine hospital in Obuasi. You see, so, and that was built, and at least I don't know what the situation is now, but it was actually managed 100% by the mine. So, and many other things. If you go to some of the communities, most of the social amenities you see, including light, roads and all that, would have been done by the mining company, who would keep quiet anyway about that, and all that. And some of the taxes that go to government, the huge chunk come from the sector. But we have problems with mining, there's no doubt about that, but it is not as horrible. So the communities have the right to be expectant. They have the right to be expectant when you tell them that you have minerals and we are going to mine the minerals, and in fact that mineral is in demand. Iron ore is in demand. China needs iron ore, and a lot of other emerging economies. If you go to Qatar now, they are building, and I'm sure they use a lot of iron ore in their work. The agric sector need iron and steel materials, manufacturing, all these things. So the community would have every right to be happy about that, but you need to manage the expectation. You need to let them know that it is not tomorrow, it is not the next day. But to start as if you're negotiating how they have to behave, how they have to do ABCD, you have to be careful.
Many thanks for your company. That's all time will allow us for today here on The Pulse. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Emefa Apau. Many thanks for your company. Enjoy the rest of the day.